What's up, everybody? Welcome to Maths with Gaston. I am Gaston Mapala right here at Maths with Gaston. Today let's have a look at Maths paper 1, question number 1, November 2022, grade 11. It was a solve for x question. It's got some quadratic question, exponents, sets, and also simultaneous equation. Okay, now let's go through them. We are gonna start right here with 1.1, which the question says we need to solve for x. Okay, so 1.1.1, right? Okay, we have got 1.1.1. it says here that we need to solve for x3, x plus 2, close bracket, x minus 5 is equal to 0. Okay, so therefore what you have, you're gonna have 3x plus 2 is equal to 0, or we're gonna have x minus 5 is equal to 0. Therefore here we need to make x subject of the formula minus 2. Take 2 to the other side. Whenever it jumps to the equal sign, it becomes a negative. We divide both sides by 3 because we're not looking for 3x, but we're looking for x. Therefore our answer is going to be x is equals to negative 2 all over 3, and then this side you take negative 5, that side is going to become positive 5. X is equals to 5. Okay, and that's how you would deal with the question 1.1.1.1. let's move on to 1.1.2. okay, 1.1.2. it is a quadratic equation here. They want us to solve for x. We all know, I did state it in the previous past papers of 2022 and 2021 that if they say round off to 2 decimals, whenever you see this thing of saying 2 decimal place, just know that you're gonna use the solve for x quadratic formula. Is there in our formula sheet is x minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4xac all over 2a. all right, okay, so we are gonna substitute. This is a, this is b, so therefore that is c. So we are gonna substitute this into this equation right here. Okay, let me just do this properly so that I don't chow too much space for myself. Come here and we're going to say what is b there. B is 5, so you're gonna say it's minus 5 plus or minus square root of b, which is minus 5. It's gonna be minus 5 squared minus 4. A is equals to 3, c is equals to minus 1, all in the square root, all over 2 multiply by a. Is it a? Yes, it's a. So a is equals to 3. Okay, so now we are gonna come here to this equation and just say I'm gonna put it directly where I'm considering a plus. If I put in a plus here, let's go ahead, put it in our calculator, guys. You can pause this video and check if you get the same answer as me, but nonetheless, when I consider a minus here, a plus rather, when I consider a plus, I'm getting negative 0.18, or if I put a negative there, if I put a negative, I'm getting 1 plus 85. okay, great stuff. And that's how you would deal with a question where they want you to round off to 2 decimal places, and then you are given a quadratic question and they want us to use the quadratic formula. Okay, 1.1.3, you are given x is equals to 4 minus square root of x minus 2. Therefore, with this said, okay, we can put the square root on one side and also put the x, and let me just try to do this. Put the x on one side, negative square root of x minus 2. Therefore, if you square this everything so that you remove the square root, square both sides. If we square both sides, this is what we're going to have. We're going to have x minus 4 rather Then this side, the negative 1 squared is going to give us a positive, so therefore this flies out, and then the square root also flies out here. Therefore we're going to be left with x minus 2. Okay, I'm gonna continue up here, where now we're going to remove the bracket here. We're going to remove the bracket by saying x times x and then x times minus 4. So therefore x times x will give us x squared. X times minus 4 is going to give us negative x4. Therefore negative 4 times x is going to be negative 4x, and then negative 4 times negative 4 positive. Therefore 4 times 4 is going to be 16. Therefore we take everything that is on this side, you take x to that side, and then we take 2 to that side. So it's going to be negative x plus 2 is equals to 0. What we can do now, we can simplify x squared. We've got x is going to be negative 8, negative 4, negative 4. It's going to be negative 8. And then we also got a negative there. It's going to be negative 9x. 16 plus 2 is going to give us plus 18 is equal to 0. Therefore, with this, then we need to factorize. Okay, I told you guys, there is no running away from factorizing. Okay, we need two numbers. When we multiply them together, they give us 18, but when we add them together, they will give us odd, or subtract them together, they will give us 9. Okay, so we already got x there and x there. If I check those numbers, is going to be 6 times 3. That's what I'm getting, guys. Please double check my math and let me know how would you have factorized this. There are many ways to factorize, but I have done it so many times that immediately when I see these numbers, they repeat themselves. So your brain just know that, okay, you need to deal this in this way. Okay, so it's going to be a negative and a negative here, because now negative times negative will give you positive, and then negative is negative 6x times negative 6x. If you do the monkey face, I told you guys about the monkey face in grade 10. So if you use the monkey face, you'll find out that it will give you the middle term of 9. Okay, so therefore x is equal to 6 or x is equal to 3. Okay, and that's how you would deal with question 1.1.3. Now moving right along, let's move to question 1.1.4. 1.1.4. Question 1.4, we're given an inequality of 2x squared plus 5x less or equals to 3. Therefore, what you have here, you've got a quadratic question that requires us to factorize. We're going to take this minus, take it to the other side. Minus 3 is going to be negative, less or equal to negative 0. Okay, then we look for two numbers. When you multiply them together, they give us 3, but when we add or subtract, they must give us a middle term of 5, considering that a here is also x. Please let me know, guys. I have received a complaint that sometimes when I talk, I move too fast. I'm trying my best to slow down and explain as much as I can as we move along. Two numbers, when we multiply them together, they give us 3. Is going to be 3 and 1, but we need to check here, where do we put 3 and where do we put 1? We need to be very careful here. We can put 3 here. The middle term is a plus sign, so we're gonna say plus here, the bigger number, so it causes 3 times 1, so negative, so it's going to be 6 minus 1, which gives us positive 5. Okay, so now what we have here, 2x minus 1 less or equal to 0, or 2x plus 3 less or equal to 0. Therefore you take 1 that side, is going to be half. X is going to be less or equal to half once you divide everything by 2. I skipped a step there, guys, but I'm expecting that you guys will be able to follow on that one. Right, you're gonna take out x is going to be less or equal to negative 3. Okay, and that's how you would deal with this question of inequality of 1.1.4. Let's move on to question 1.2. All right, 1.2 said simplify the following without using the calculator. They have given us there, and a very nice question there. Let's see what we can do. 1.2.1, it's simplify, it's 27 to the power of 2 over 3. Okay, so we just need to simplify this the best way we can. We know that 8 can also be written in terms of factors, can also be written as 2 to the power of 3. Okay, and we also know that 27 can also be written as 3 to the power of 3. And then we'll leave everything as it is so that we can get a mark for that one. Okay, so now we know that everything that is to the power of something and there's an exponent thereof, these two things need to be multiplied by each other. Okay, so now we are gonna come here and say 2 to the power of 3 can be multiplied by 2 over 3 all over 3 to the power of 3, which is 27, also multiply by the same exponent, because when it's outside the bracket it's multiplying everything, right? Okay, with that said, okay, we can already see that 3 and 3 at the exponent would cancel out, and also here at the bottom 3 and 3 would cancel out. We are therefore going to be left with 2 to the power of 2 all over 3 to the power of 2, which is going to be equal to 4 over 9. Okay, and that's how you deal with a question like this one, guys. Moving right along, let's move on to 1.2.2, where we are given square root of 12 plus 2 in bracket square root of 3 minus 1 close bracket. And then what we can do here, we need to remove the bracket the same way we do when we have got trinomials that we need to solve. Okay, square root of 12 multiplied by square root of 9 is going to give us square root of 2 square root of 3. Okay, okay, rather before we do that, we need to simplify this square root of 12 is going to simplify as square root of 2 square root of 3 plus 2. Rather made a mistake there, guys. Okay, there you go. So with that, we can say 2 times 1 is going to give us 2. Now we're removing the bracket. Now we can officially remove the bracket. Now we've simplified that. Then it's going to say square root of 3 times square root of 3 is going to give us 3 as it is on its own, right? So therefore negative 1 times 2 square root of 3 is going to be negative 2 square root of 3, and therefore plus 2 times square root of 3 is going to give us plus 2 square root of 3. Positive 2 times negative 2 is going to give us negative, therefore 2 times 1 is going to give us 2. There you go. All right, so therefore with that said, I already see here we have got 2 times 3 is going to give us 6. Therefore negative square root of 3 plus 2 square root of 3, these ones will just chow each other out. So they are like terms, the other one is positive, the other one is negative, so therefore they will cancel each other out. Okay, therefore you're left with 6 minus 2, which is going to give us 4. All right, and that's how you deal with this one. Is going to give us 4 is therefore our final answer. All right, good stuff. So now let's move on to 1.3. 1.3 is a simultaneous equation given by these two equations right here. I will call this equation number 1. I already call it this equation number 2. So therefore I need to change number 1 and make 1 y the subject to the formula, or x subject to the formula rather. Okay, it's given by 5. Okay, let me write the equation number 1.3. Okay, so we've got 5y minus x is equals to 2. So we want to make x the subject to the formula here, 2 minus 5y. Therefore divide by negative 1 everything here is going to give us x is equals to 5y minus 2 is going to give us 3. There you go. Tango. All right, so now with this said, we can simply say we need to substitute into, what are we substituting? We are substituting equation number 3 into number 2. Okay, into number 2. So here we go. Wherever there's x, we're going to put 5y minus 2. So here we go. there's x there, is starting with x squared here. So it simply means it's going to be 5y minus 2 squared minus 5y, and then what is our x? 5y minus 2, close bracket, therefore plus 4y is equal to 4. Okay, so what we need to do here, we need to expand and therefore remove this bracket that you see here. So it's going to be 5y minus 2. It's gonna repeat itself again, 5y minus 2 minus 3y in close bracket, 5y minus 2 plus 4y is equals to 4. Okay, great stuff, guys. I'm gonna continue from up here. I'm gonna continue from up there. So what we have now, we need to remove the bracket here. Remove the bracket here. You already know how to remove the bracket, guys. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say when we remove, we're gonna have 25y squared. Therefore 5y minus 2 is going to give us minus 10y. Okay, and then also another minus 10y, and therefore negative and negative, negative 2 times negative 2 is going to give us positive 4. Okay, and therefore we need to remove the bracket here. Also negative 3 times 5y is going to give us negative 15y squared, and therefore negative 3 times negative 3y times negative 2, I'm here, guys, I'm right here, is going to give us positive 6y. I'm going to continue here at the bottom with that plus 4y. I'm going to take this negative 4 to that side, is going to be negative 4 is equals to 0. Okay, so with that in mind, now we need to simplify further. I can already see I've got a positive 4 there and a negative 4. That should go out. How many y? I've got 25 y squared minus 15 squared. Okay, 25 y squared minus 15 squared. It should is going to give us 10y squared. I've got a negative 10y, negative 10y is going to be negative 20y plus 6. Therefore plus that 6 is going to give us $10y. Okay, is going to give us negative 20y plus 6. Okay, it's going to give us 14 plus another plus 4y is go, so therefore is going to give us negative 10y. All right, I think that's clear, guys. With that, now we have accounted for everything that there is to account for. Therefore this will be 0. Then we're going to take out y as a common factor. In this case, yeah, we're going to take out y as a common factor. Then we're going to be left with 10y minus 10 is equals to 0. Therefore y is going to be equals to 0, and therefore here when you take y to the other side, 10y is equals to 10 divided by 10. Therefore your y is going to be equals to 1. Therefore with this we need to substitute all these y values into our initial equation of the equation 3. Okay, where we'll find out that x is going to be equals to, when y is equals to 0, what is x here? This is negative, so therefore x is going to be equals to minus 2. When y is equals to 1, what is x? So it's going to be similar thing, 1 minus 2, so x is going to be equals to 3. Okay, and that's how you deal with this simultaneous equation. Let's move along and do the last question on this question 1 of November 2020 grade 11. If you have not subscribed on this channel, please make sure that you subscribe. I am Gastin Mapala, making sure that you fully understand these questions like these ones and doing all the past papers, series of past papers from 2022 up until 2020. All right, great stuff. So now let's have a look at question 1.4. All right, question 1.4, we are given here a diagram below shows an oval piece of land that Ailey acquired from his for his poetry project. He decided to use the biggest possible triangle piece of land out of the entire piece. The rectangular piece will have a length of 2x and the breadth will be y, and then as shown on the diagram. Okay, now we see that everything they described there is shown on the diagram. All right, then 4.1.1, it says that to show that the area of a rectangle can be written as a is equals to 280x minus 4x squared, given that the parameter of the rectangle is 280 meters. Okay, that really helps. Determine the maximum possible area that the rectangular can occupy. All right, good stuff. So let's move right along and deal with the question 4.1.4.1. All right, with reading that question and fully understanding what we need to do here, guys, if you don't fully understand the question, I suggest that you go back and read the question again. All right, so question 1.4.1 is saying that we need to prove that this is the area if the parameter is given by this. Remember, the parameter is just the sum of everything. All right, so you will remember when we did when you did what you did in grade 10, guys, when you did the area and the shapes, ne? So parameter is everything. So how many length and breadth do we have there? We've got 2 length because it's a rectangle, right? So it will have this this length or this breadth, rather, doesn't matter. You see there. So there's 2 of them, there's 2 of each. Okay, there we go. There's two of each. So therefore they're saying the perimeter, if the perimeter is 280, so we'll put our 280 there. They've already told us, and they told us that the length is 2x. So the length in this case is symbolized by 2x, and then the breadth was symbolized by, I think, y, rather. Is it? Yeah, it was symbolized by y from the question there. So we've got 2. How many of the length here? We've got 2x, and then the breadth is just given by 2y. Okay, how many are there? There were 2 of them, so it will just symbolized by y. Therefore, once we substitute this in our equation, we're just gonna come here and then make y the subject of the formula. 280, we remove the bracket here, 4x plus 2y. Then we're gonna take the 4 that side, 280 minus 4x is equals to 2y, divided everything by 2. If we were to divide everything by 2, we are therefore going to be left with y is equals to 140 minus 2x. Okay, great stuff. All right, so now we can go to the area. Now the area of a rectangle says area is equals to length times breadth. So we already know what is our length. Our length is given by 2x and y. So but now y, we already know the value of y here because this is an expression of y that we got. So we can substitute that here into this equation so that we find our area in terms of x, because we can see that is expressed only in terms of x there. So therefore with that you can now remove the bracket and say 2x times 140 is going to be 280 x. Okay, and then 2x times negative 2x is going to give us negative 4x squared. Okay, and that's our area right there, and it's similar to the one that they said that we need to prove. Okay, so now moving right along to 1.4.2, the question says we need to maximum possible area. There are many ways you can deal with this question. You can either use the derivative. You can also use the derivative, which says that you drop the exponent and then from the exponent you minus 1. If you don't want to do that, use the derivative. What you can do, because you're still in grade 11, I think the derivative, they use them from grade 12. Yeah, what you can do now, you can say, okay, to find the maximum, you use this x point here. This is what we refer to as a maximum point or the turning point. Okay, so this is the maximum point or the turning point. So what you can do now, you can say, okay, negative b, you see now, so this, because now this is a, this is b. Okay, remember from the quadratic equation of saying that ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, so similar thing applies here. If the coefficient of x is a b, the coefficient of x squared is a, and therefore the constant will just be c. So same thing applies here. We need to substitute there. This is our b here. X is going to be equals to minus 280, which is our b, all over 2, and therefore minus a, which is minus 4. Therefore this will give us an x value of, if I randomly punch that in my calculator, it's giving me 35. Okay, please let me know, guys, if you get this, and we already know the units, which is 5. All right, so once we have the x value here, remember they are asking us for the maximum possible area. So now we need to substitute this back into the original formula. So now you can say here you need to sub x into the area formula, which we just calculated here, and the one they gave us. Let's say maybe you made a mistake, you didn't get question 1.4.1 correctly, you can use that one here because they already given that to us. So a is going to be equals to, where there's x, we're going to put 35, is going to be 280. It's going to be 280, 35 minus 4, 35 squared. Okay, so therefore our area will just have to be, put this in our calculator, we found that it's 4